What's going on, Wake Forest basketball fans? Today we're going to look at the roster heading into 2025-26 season here. And in a month or so, I'll come back and give my official predictions for Wake Forest for the season, as well as what I think the rotation is going to look like. But before we look ahead to the roster for the 2025 season here, we got to look back. And last year, it just seems like the last couple of seasons for Coach Forbes and this Wake Forest program have just been almost like Groundhog's Day, just very similar records. The last three seasons, you've got 19 and 14, 21 and 14, 21 and 11. It's just remarkably consistent, but at the same time, not quite good enough to get into the NCAA tournament. Last year, it felt like it was a little bit closer. This year, somewhat similar story though. Had chances late, even though the beginning there were some opportunities that they didn't quite execute on. But this team, led by their wings, who had to play a little bit of point guard this year because they just didn't have a point guard option, a consistent one, in Hunter Salas and Cam Hildreth. Those two guys for Wake Forest have been really good. Have had really good seasons, careers. In the case of Hildreth, spending all 4 years there, Salas the past couple, and they just gave a level of consistency to this Wake Forest team. You knew what you're going to get from those two guys. Throwing a guy like Trayvon Spillers, who gave them good minutes from that forward spot. Efton Reed, solid college center. He started expanding his game a little bit, shooting the three as well. I thought they got good things from freshman Juke Harris, who I'm excited about heading into next season. And then, there were some disappointments. I think they just didn't get much from Tyler Johnson, and clearly there was some frustration from the coach with him as the replacement for Boopy Miller. It just did not work out. Davin Cosby, I thought, had some production early on, and then he got hurt. And then Parker Fredrickson. Personally, of all the disappointments, that was the biggest one for me because I felt like he could have maybe not a breakthrough season, but certainly a real step forward. And it just didn't happen for Fredrickson. So add in Churchill Abbas, you've got 6-7 guys from last year's rotation who will no longer be a part of their team. And so let's move forward. Let's start talking about the 25-26 roster here. So we've got it sorted out on the Wake Forest website, the basketball website, I should say here, to clarify. Obviously, that's where we're at, but, just in case anybody wasn't sure, please like this video. It helps with the algorithm. So we're going to start off with a couple of point guards. Nate Calamese, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Sebastian Akins. Nate, we'll just say, he spent, some time. He's been around 3 schools. This will be his 4th school in 4 seasons. Last season at Washington State. He previously spent time at Washington and Lamar as well. 15 points a game, 3 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 1.6 steals. And then Akins, who is going to be just a sophomore, spent last year at Denver, so not the same level of competition, I would say. Washington State, yeah, they're in the WCC now, but still I think a level above what Denver played. A little bit older, Calamese. Denver, for Akins, 13 points a game, 2 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1 steal. Those two guys, obviously, that's the competition for the point guard spot. And I'll let you guys know who I think is going to get the first crack to start in a month or so. Oh, little voice crack there. Lovely, lovely. All right, we keep moving. Let's see. We've got Isaac Carr, top 200 recruit freshman, 3-star guy. And then Jalen Cross, top 250. I don't expect these guys to play, but this is not the deepest of rosters, so you just never know. Now, these two guys, Miles Colvin and Mecky Mason, there's going to be a lot, a lot expected or a lot needed. I guess both things can be true from scoring-wise from these two players. Mecky Mason comes over after spending time with Washington and a couple of years with Bryce. In 24 minutes last year for Washington, 10 points, 2 rebounds, and a steal. He was pretty good from three, 41% from three on 4 attempts. So, only 24 minutes, he was getting them up there at a pretty good clip. Really good shooter is Mason, so I think that's going to be important. Colvin is a guy, he played in the Purdue system past couple of seasons. 6'5" wing. He's real intriguing to me, guys. 5.5 points, 2.5 rebounds, about half a steal in 18 minutes. 31% from three on 3.5 attempts. And I feel like, I got to double check this in real time here, but I feel like that number was down from his freshman season, even though the attempts were up and the minutes were up. Yeah, 41% on 2 attempts per game as a freshman, 31% on 3.5 attempts as a sophomore. So maybe his junior season, he ends up somewhere in between. But I think, honestly, more than anything, Colvin just hasn't had a ton of shots his first couple of seasons as a supplementary player in Purdue. I think he could be in for a much bigger role with Wake Forest. All right. Juke Harris. We talked about Juke Harris and Trayvon Spillers a little bit before. These are 2 of 3. They're 4, technically, returners coming back for this Wake Forest team. Juke Harris was a top 100 recruit last season. 6 points a game, 3 rebounds, half a steal. I just think of all the guys on this roster, Juke Harris could be the guy who ends up, maybe it's one of the point guards, but if it's not, I think Juke Harris could be the leading scorer on this team next season. I just think he's got a lot of upside in his game. And Trayvon Spillers, I still think the story is cool with Spillers after playing well against Wake Forest with Appalachian State. Transfers to Wake Forest. A really solid season last year. 10 points, 7.5 rebounds, over a block per game, and a steal per game for Spillers. Maybe he can expand his shot, be a little bit more consistent from 3-point range this season. Omaha Billieu, man, the talent is there. Former top 10 recruit from Iowa State. Last season, he only played in 13 games due to injury. Less than 10 minutes a game, 3 points, 1.5 rebounds. They're going to hope he stays healthy because there's not a lot of depth in the front court for this team. So if he's healthy, he's going to get playing time. And Marcus Marion, the redshirt sophomore from Denmark, did not play last season. Didn't play very much as a freshman. But again, not a lot of depth in the front court for this Wake Forest team. So he could find himself getting minutes next season behind Spillers in that 4 spot. And lastly, Cooper Schweiger. Now this guy could end up being the leading scorer as well. Schweiger transferred from Valparaiso, where he spent 2 seasons. 16 points a game, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks. I'll let you guys in on a secret. Schweiger is going to be the starting center, in my opinion, for this Wake Forest basketball team. Real good numbers, really productive. I think whether he's a leading scorer or not, we'll have to see. Certainly a major step up from the competition he faced at Valparaiso, but still, I think there's questions with this team, more so than last year. They didn't get necessarily an influx of talent. I do have concerns. We'll get to that when I get to the predictions in a month or so. Until then, if you're still watching this video, hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Peace.